Yeah, I mean, I think the challenge is always people are unwilling unless you've experienced the pain, unless you've been the one writing the checks or fighting with clients about, I did have not have good information when I ordered my 36-inch wide cabinet boxes for your fridge. I did not know at that time that it was a 32-inch spec. That kind of stuff happens all the time. So, but I think that unless you have the experience and the road rash of having to have dealt with that, it makes it really hard to look in the crystal ball and say this is something I'm willing to
Do.
add some time and effort and monetary value to. Generally, in most of the projects that we are involved in, we normally put up a minimum of 400% return on investment, which we look at as the value of things that we catch.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Adam Katz, is the founder of Craydl, virtual construction designed for builders, homeowners, developers, architects, and interior designers. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dylan.
Great to have you. I always like to start off at the top of the show, Adam, by asking guests how they got into the real estate space.
Great question. Yeah, I live in Scottsdale, Arizona today. I grew up in New York City and moved out here to go to school when I was 18 in the mid 90s. And growing up in New York City, it was a very well established city. And here in Phoenix, you were really able to see a city emerging. And I've always loved architecture. It's one of the things I went to school for. And I've always enjoyed seeing things get built. And Arizona, at least in those days, it was a lot less expensive to become an investor. It was a really fertile ground for you to just get involved and learn. And ever since then, I guess I've always just had the bug.
Did you get in on the investment side, or did you get in as a service provider to the space?
Both. Yeah. So I've been a long time investor in real estate entirely here in Arizona. Um, and but I've also been a developer for groups. I have developed properties for individuals. Today, Craydl is certainly a service provider to the industry. Um, and separately, I'm an investor. I haven't seen a whole lot that I've enjoyed that I thought was worth investing in the last 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
but historically, I've been an active investor.
Before we hop into talking about Craydl, I want to ask you about your journey as an investor out there. Is there been a specific asset class that you've primarily invested in, be it, single family or small multi-family or larger deals, or have you done a little bit of everything?
I I've had exposure to a lot of different things, but my bread and butter personally has been in the single family residential space. I got started by buying properties when I was still an undergrad at ASU and renting them out to other students. And that So I've really always enjoyed it. And now, my favorite thing to do is to take really old, cruddy houses and make them spectacular and modernized. And um, when there's a profitable spread to be made.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I want to ask you about that time period because I don't want to gloss over that. Buying houses and renting them out to other students. So, did you have, I mean, you're a young student at that point in time. Did you have mentors who was helping you walk through this? Did you know someone who was already doing this?
I had a phenomenal mentor who was 7 years older than me. I doubt he really regarded himself as being a mentor. He was more of a friend, but 7 years older than me and came from a very wealthy family and was already doing very, very large scale development work. Big partnerships with very well-known developers, um, taking down very, very large pieces of land around the valley in areas that are really now well established. But the thing that really resonated with me was that there were ways to buy things, improve them, and if you were lucky enough, keep them forever if you could get them to cash flow, and that they would be the gifts that just kept on giving, and that turned out to be true. So my mentor actually co-signed for me on my first couple of loans. Again, it was a different time. I respect that
Yeah.
it was a different time, but I was grateful to have somebody that believed in me because I didn't come from the kind of background of familial wealth that would be able to support that. So.
I want to ask you about the genesis of Craydl. Where did you get the inspiration to create it? And then, second to that, we were talking. There is such a need for that kind of bridge between the client and the designer. It's like two different languages. Was that the original intent of Craydl?
Yeah, the great question. The original intent of Cradle, our whole reason y- for being, our mission, if you will, is to eliminate rework. When I first started the company 4 years ago, uh, it was our intent to provide clients with a very, very high-end, white glove, end-to-end service if they were going to build a luxury home. And what occurred to me as I was starting to set up Cradle was that at least here in Phoenix, we have excellent, excellent builders. We have excellent architects. We have a wonderfully deep design and engineering community. We have really, really strong talent and great firms with great reputations that do landscape design and interior design. The problem that I was seeing was that there was no hub in the middle managing all of that disparate information. And that information, it has impacts. Those information, those designs have impacts on one another, and they evolve over time. In fact, in a lot of cases, they're continuing to evolve while whatever the project is getting built. And so I spent 10 years in the capital markets, specifically in software, and having an opportunity to do deep dives from an analytical standpoint into software companies and seeing kind of what made them work or not work. And the thing that occurred to me is that in our industry, we don't have a people problem so much as we have an information management problem. For
Yep.
whatever reason, we're not getting the information correctly into the hands of the person that matters in the moment of truth. And that's really what Cradle has been created to solve for, is becoming that hub in the middle of the project so that the builder can maintain better control over all the information.
I have a couple granular questions as someone who's not at all involved in this space, maybe for the
Let's jump
layperson to
in.
break this down
Yeah,
for
let's
us.
jump
So
in. Yeah.
When we talk about rework, the first thing that comes into my mind is like, hey, the specs are off. We intended it to be like this wall is here and it's 3 feet to the left. What's the general scope of rework, let's say in like a single family home?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Well, here's what I can tell you. It's kind of builder specific and it's scope specific. We work with builders who build from the ground up. We work with builders who do interior remodels, and we work with everybody in between. So, but what we generally find is all builders have rework. And to me, rework is a clear definition on a per builder basis. It's their negative variance. If they thought they were going to build this thing for $1 million and it cost $1,000,001, they have $100,000 negative variance, right? And to that end, there's two different kinds of change orders. There's the good kind. The customer says, "Hey, I decided I want to upgrade this. Put your fee on it. It's fine." But that's not the kind of rework that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the rework that, where we find something unexpected that had happened in the field. And so generally what I find is all the rework really fits kind of neatly into three different categories. There are constructability issues, and constructability issues can stem from systems not working together. Hey, we have a beam and no way of getting air conditioning ducting through that beam. And now we have to do some kind of gymnastics in the field, and there's going to be impacts to the design. Sometimes, to your point, it's a lot of just getting the existing conditions right. We see a lot of plans where somebody goes out and measures with, manually with a tape measure or and a pad, or they're using an iPhone, or they're even using a Matterport, but they don't really know how to operate it correctly. And so and we've seen situations where things are off by 3 inches or 6 inches. When we gather existing conditions for our clients, we use a $50,000 high density LiDAR scanner that allows us to, within 2 millimeters of accuracy, get every light switch, doorknob, receptacle, register, riser, bush, tree, stone. We get it all. And now I can build a model complete with wall dimensions and interior cladding and exterior cladding and all the things that you see inside the house to say, here's what we have today. Now what are we doing from here? And so now when there's an architect involved, we start incorporating their design into it. Sometimes we're performing the architectural design internally, but
Okay.
our objective is to have a singular version of the truth from which we're creating all documentation for the field, for permitting, and to have a 3D fully immersive model that the homeowner can go through and see the design, actually experience it, so that they are not out in the field making changes because they didn't understand how to read the plans or they didn't understand the design intent.
When we're talking about reading plans, I'm thinking of this like there's some things that may traditionally get lost in translation. How common is that? Does that happen? Whether it's, client to architect, architect to builder, is that a common issue?
What I would say is it's common typically facing the homeowner or the developer, so the kinds of things that we have, it might be helpful if I tell you some stories to help you
Yeah.
understand kind of like how these things manifest. We're working on a project now where we've incorporated all the landscape and hardscape design and all the interior design. And we had found a couple of things through the course of doing this. One, the interior designer had captured, sort of reclaimed a mechanical closet to put a sauna in it. Well, that was going to be a bad blow up in the field. There was no place to put that mechanical closet. By putting the landscape design together, we were actually able to show where certain parts of the fencing weren't connecting to the house, and therefore it would have been a security issue. We were able to show that gates and fences hadn't been specified yet. So those are the things that have a tendency to kind of creep up at the end of the project and suddenly add a bunch of time. And so it was really helpful to be able to express that. There are times where we take architecture work and we can see that the doors and windows on the elevations don't match where they are on the floor plan, which don't match what's in the schedule. Well, if
Hmm.
you're a builder and you're trying to order from that, or you're a developer and you're trying to go establish your window package accurately from that, those are mistakes you can't afford to make. So I don't know if that answers your
Oh
question
yeah, it
about
does.
about how much misalignment there can be between all the respective parties. But the way that I characterize it is that builders are given often they're given enough information to create a prototype, but their customers are expecting them to build a perfect product. And by putting BIM and VDC in the middle of it, it allows them to productize all the information that they're getting so that they can execute smoothly in the field.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I want to ask you specifically about when we're talking about scale, right? So if you're talking about, a large subdivision where you may have multiple homes that are very similar in layout or several different designs, but similar in layout, uh, can these issues potentially compound if you have, one design that is being used in multiple places, and then this gets kind of recycled and worsened as the issue goes undetected? Is that a thing?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, you start getting into multifamily development. We've seen things where, the person doing the interior design specification specified a 32-inch wide fridge. And, that's kind of a unique size fridge. Typically, they're 36 inches wide. So, by being able to flush that out early, it was a 24 unit complex. And by being able to flush that out
Yeah.
early, I would say that that was an important catch early in the process. So, yeah, I mean, I think the challenge is always people are unwilling, unless you've experienced the pain, unless you've been the one writing the checks or fighting with clients about, I did have not have good information when I ordered my 36-inch wide cabinet boxes for your fridge. I did not know at that time that it was a 32-inch spec. That kind of stuff happens all the time. So, but I think that unless you have the experience and the road rash of having to have dealt with that, it makes it really hard to look in the crystal ball and say this is something I'm willing to
Yeah.
add some time and effort and monetary value to. Generally, in most of the projects that we are involved in, we normally put up a minimum of 400% return on investment, which we look at as the value of things that we catch divided
Yeah.
by our total fees. It's a very simple equation.
Well, I want to ask you, pivoting a bit here, working with developers, working with architects, working with interior designers, it seems like a great fit. When I think about homeowners, I'm curious how, if homeowners are interested, in Craydl, would they bring this up to their architect, to their builder? How could homeowners themselves benefit?
Yeah, we work directly with probably a half a dozen to a dozen homeowners a year that find us through networks. And often we have wonderful builder partners. So we have a lot of builders that will also bring us their clients and say, here's a project where, we need you to do more than just the BIM and VDC. We need you to do the design development and concept about and get us all the way through the permitting process. But we also, again, we have customers that come to us directly. And so I think that you know, often homeowners come to us looking for a set of plans, but we start from a much higher altitude than that, which is what are you budgeting and how have you budgeted and who's on your team and what does good look like and we really put them through a full program, a full feasibility program before we bring them on. And there are times where we've chosen not to work with clients because their budgets or expectations weren't
Why?
realistic.
Yeah, I think
And
that's probably where people run into issues too, right? Is when you tell them yes, and then it can't get to where it needs to be. And then people start to end up taking shortcuts because, they're worried about spending too much money, but they want the, modern home. It's not going to work.
Yeah, we have a tool that we've developed internally for that. We actually sell it as a subscription to our builders. It's $100 a month, but it allows you to sit down and in under an hour, you can go through a 24-step questionnaire and it will spit out a line item budget, based on the answers to the questions. So how many feet are you building? How many feet of garage space? How tall are the top plates? What's the price quality mix? How big is the kitchen? Are we doing a fancy pantry? So you kind of go through these 24 steps, and then it will tell you. We aggregate data from about 30 builders and to provide averages on a monthly basis, and say this is what people are generally spending, for 9-foot top plates when they're building from the ground up for framing. This is what people are typically spending a foot for structural foundation. This is and so the whole idea is that you kind of get this realistic budget, that's actually based on something, and allows them to go back and say, well, $2 million is more than we wanted to spend. Well, nobody can make concrete or wood or labor cost less. So we really have to go back and revisit how we answer the questions, because it's kind of like asking somebody, how much does a bag of groceries cost? And
Hmm.
the answer is, it depends what's in the bag,
How
right? So
much,
we
how
got to
much
figure out
groceries
what's
you
going in
get?
your bag so that I can tell you about what it's going to cost.
Adam, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go maybe to reach out to you or to learn more about Craydl? How can folks get in contact with you?
Yeah, feel free to go to our website. We have a lot of great information on there about how we work with people and the services that we offer. It's www.craydl, spelled a little weird, Craydl.com.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.